series called Where Every Avenger Is Before Doomsday, explained in detail. I have not been tapped into the MCU.
Some are retired, some are breaking realities, and one in particular has turned into a full-blown villain. The Avengers have been scattered post-Endgame, but they've definitely been busy, and each of their individual stories is starting to affect the multiverse in massive ways. So, let's get into this mess, shall we? Because, man, it has been really messy. Hawkeye. The first time we see Clint after Endgame is in 2024 during Hawkeye Season 1, while he's just chilling around in New York, catching up on a lot of missed family time. His very homicidal past as the Ronin starts to catch up to him. Here, he's hunted by Maya Lopez, aka Echo, who wants revenge on him because she thinks he killed her dad. That's not what actually happened, though. The death of William Lopez was actually orchestrated by Wilson Fisk. Just regular Kingpin stuff.
Your boss wanted your father dead.
You see, Hawkeye had a confidential informant who was actually Wilson Fisk, and Clint didn't know he was talking to Fisk. He received a tip about William, who was the leader of the Tracksuit Mafia before Fisk took over. They're basically a street-level crime outfit operating out of New York City, which is now Kingpin's turf after rising to political power in New York. And Fisk didn't want Lopez's competition within the tracksuits, so he had Hawkeye take him out, who was honestly just looking for bodies to drop. Clint also runs into Kate Bishop, a highly skilled archer who idolized Hawkeye after he saved her during the Battle of New York. She's also wearing his old Ronin suit. So, they have a real Batman-Robin thing going on.
Yes.
He's also getting attacked by Yelena Belova during all of this because she believes he's responsible for Natasha's death on Vormir. All in all, he's fighting a two-front war against a vengeful crime syndicate and a master assassin. And he's supposed to be retired, by the way. Throughout all of this, he basically adopts Kate Bishop, even bringing her home to the Bartons for Christmas morning, and then burns the Ronin suit, officially passing the title of Hawkeye to the next generation. Bucky Barnes. From the Winter Soldier to U.S. Congressman, Bucky's been real active ever since Endgame ended. Before most of his notable activities, he was honestly just trying to be a functioning human. He even had mandated therapy with Dr. Rayner. Bucky spent months dismantling old Hydra cells he had helped establish during his time as the Winter Soldier, and he even tracked down victims to apologize personally, for killing their family members.
Yes.
Yay, Bucky.
Of course, I completed rule number 3. I am no longer the Winter Soldier. I am James Bucky Barnes, and you're part of my efforts to make amends.
He also broke Baron Zemo out of his prison because he needed his help to track down the Power Broker and the new Super Soldier Serum, which was eventually stolen by the Flag Smashers. Together, Bucky and Sam pretty much took them down. Although he did get into trouble with the Dora Milaje for the whole Zemo prison break.
Yes.
And that's not all. He's been keeping tabs on CIA Director Valentina Fontaine, leveraging his status as a congressman to monitor all her illegal operations with the OXE group. Bucky's got some pretty big plans. He is also part of the new Avengers and is actually a core member. Bucky was responsible for saving New York during the Century's Emo episode, which almost sent New York itself to the Shadow Realm. Thing is, the whole new Avengers thing wasn't really planned. It was kind of a power play by Fontaine to keep the new Avengers in control, but that really didn't work out for her.
Meet the new Avengers.
We own you now.
On the other hand, Bucky and Sam? Well, their relationship isn't exactly in the best place. You see, Sam's actually forming his own Avengers initiative, and both of them are pretty opposed to the other's way of doing things.
But we are the Avengers. The government said so. How does Sam Wilson not understand that?
Well, he does have the shield.
Weren't you going to talk to him?
I already did.
And?
It went poorly.
Sam wants to do things the way Steve Rogers did, and he has the legal copyright to the Avengers name.
You know he's filed for copyright of the name?
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
He's also going after them legally, and pretty much views them as the wrong choice. We left Bucky at the end credits of the Thunderbolts, discussing where to go from here with the Avengers and picking up a spaceship with a very interesting number. Bruce Banner. Things have actually been pretty quiet for Bruce after Endgame. Mostly, he's doing his own
Bruce is gonna be in the new Spider-Man movie. I can skip this part, can't I?
stuff, having a lab on a private island in Mexico built by Tony Stark, and just trying to live a normal life. This actually leads him to reconnect with his cousin Jennifer Walters. Oh, by the way, he's totally human now. How though? Bruce came up with the inhibitor, a device he wears on his arm which lets him be a human full-time. He came up with this so he could heal the cellular damage from using the nano gauntlet, something he's not really able to do when he's hulked out for reasons? It works by suppressing the gamma mutation, so he's no longer a grade A1 crash out. But gamma-related troubles creep back into his life when he accidentally turns Jennifer into She-Hulk during a car accident in which she's exposed to his blood. To be fair, anyone would crash their car if a Sakaran ship landed in front of them. He then pretty much spent his time trying to train her in the ways of being a Hulk, although even that was complicated. They didn't really get along too well. Sometime in between, he also went back to Sakaar. We don't really know what he did there except that he came back with a half-alien, half-Hulk son known as Scar. Oh, also, he apparently made peace with Emil Blonsky. Not sure how you go from leveling Harlem to exchanging haikus, but hey, it's Marvel.
That fight was so many years ago, I'm a completely different person now, literally.
They also had a real small rematch. Nowadays, he's actually a professor at Empire State University with a new inhibitor too, and a freshly healed arm. He might play a pretty key role in Brand New Day by helping Peter navigate his mutation and enhanced powers. But we covered that in our Brand New Day video, which, hey, it's out now. Thor, Odin's son. During Endgame, we found Thor in a pretty big slump, full of depression, grief, and a huge sense of failure. The defeat of Thanos was the start of a new chapter for him. And the first step was giving the throne to the Valkyrie. Thor spent his entire character arc in the Infinity Saga building himself up to be worthy of the throne, so that was pretty big for him. He instead chose to travel with the Guardians of the Galaxy and do a lot of soul-searching. This intergalactic journey got him back to fighting shape, but he was kind of a mess emotionally still. Then, duty called during the events of Love and Thunder, where he and Jane Foster fought against Gore the God Butcher. Oh, yeah, speaking of Jane, they got back together in this movie. So that whole thing finally came full circle. While he eventually did defeat Gore, the Asgardian lost and gained two crucial things in this movie. The love of his life, Jane Foster, who succumbed to her cancer, and the chance to be a father, having adopted Gore's daughter, Love. She's not an ordinary kid either, and that's excluding the fact that she was brought back by eternity. Currently, Thor's just spending his time raising Love and protecting the galaxies with her, though in a trailer for Doomsday, it seems like he's gearing up for one final massive battle.
So that I may fight once more, defeat one more enemy, and return home to her.
Carol Danvers. While some other Avengers were enjoying downtime, Carol Danvers was busy taking down the Kree Supreme Intelligence and crippling a galactic empire. This earned her the nickname the Annihilator among the Kree survivors.
No, we do it now, before the Annihilator appears.
But the battle against the Kree was also a very personal one. You see, for years, Carol lived under the impression that the source of her power was an inhibitor chip. Not only did this suppress her memories, but it also made her think she was a Kree. She was essentially manipulated to forget her entire identity as a human being. Once she pieced back her memories on Earth and realized the Supreme Intelligence had been suppressing her, she ripped out the inhibitor chip, and all the raw cosmic power that the chip suppressed came rushing forth, unlocking her binary state. Her fight against the Kree was definitely about taking down the Kree Empire, but it was also about reclaiming her life. But to people of Kree, she's essentially the one who destroyed their entire society. That's what motivates Dar-Ben, a Kree survivor, to go after her for revenge in the Marvels. It doesn't help that Carol feels pretty guilty herself for what she did to the Kree and their homeworld Hala. A lot of weird stuff happens to her in the Marvels. She has a midlife crisis, aliens come for her.
We have no choice.
And a random teenager she's never met, along with a child of her best friend, suddenly becomes magically linked to her powers. It wasn't a fun time. For once, she can't punch her way out of the problem, so she flies straight into Hala's dying star, reigniting it and bringing life and light back to Hala and the Kree, and finds some mental peace while doing it. Scott Lang. Ant-Man moved up big time in the world, going from petty thief to the successful author of his own autobiography called Look Out for the Little Guy. This is an actual promotion by Paul Rudd, but you get the point. Now, what's he actually selling here? Basically, a recollection of the events leading to Thanos' defeat. And that's not all. He's also hosting podcasts and living a pretty cozy civilian life in San Francisco.
Man.
But things got chaotic for him again when his daughter Cassie accidentally established a two-way link with the quantum realm and pulled the entire Ant family down into the subatomic dimension. There, Lang was forced to confront an exiled variant of Kang the Conqueror, and you all know what Kang is about. This specific variant eradicated countless timelines and slaughtered the Avengers across the multiverse. He also met Darren Cross again, who apparently shrank into the quantum realm and is now a cybernetic hoverchair. Eventually, they defeated him and escaped, though it wasn't easy. But the experience did a number on Scott, who is now pretty paranoid of the chance of a multiversal war. Honestly, at this point, it's a real possibility too, so I don't blame the guy. But it wasn't all bad, because Quantumania was also about Cassie Lang coming into her own as a hero, so it was a pretty proud dad moment for Scott. Wanda Maximoff.
Trash.
Besides Peter Parker, Wanda is the only Avenger who's chronically at rock bottom. After Vision's death, she pretty much went off the deep end. And what do I mean? Well, casting a massive reality-altering hex over Westview, fabricating a whole sitcom with an alive Vision and two twin sons,
peak.
Billy and Tommy, and then having to erase that entire fake reality to free the townspeople. Yeah, we have a lot to unpack here. Her progression from Avenger to multiversal threat isn't a pretty one. The events of WandaVision not only broke her mentally, but also introduced her to the Darkhold, a book of ancient dark magic that pretty much corrupted her as she used it. The book's influence warped her grief, driving her to scour the multiverse for a reality where this family actually existed. And that's how she became the Scarlet Witch and began dreamwalking into other universes. At one point, she took over an alternate universe variant of herself and proceeded to absolutely butcher Earth 838's superheroes.
So there's a.
Besides that, she also went on a multiversal hunt for a teenager. Her pursuit of America Chavez and her multiverse-hopping powers was one of the darkest points of Wanda's character. She also ended up making an enemy out of Doctor Strange, who was protecting America from Wanda. And when I say enemy, I mean she literally launched a one-woman siege of Kamartaj, and won. And it only stopped when she was confronted by an alternate universe version of her own children, who were so terrified of her they couldn't recognize their own mother. That was the last straw Wanda needed to turn back, and she ended up destroying the Darkhold in every universe.
I opened the Darkhold. I have to close it. No one will ever be tempted by the Darkhold again.
Collapsing the source of it, Mount Wundagore, upon herself. It's not clear if she's still alive, but we'll find out soon enough. Sam Wilson. Left with a shield, a mission, and really big shoes to fill, Sam Wilson has had a tough time growing into the role of the next Captain America. A lot of his conflict came from living up to the standard Steve Rogers set, but he also is in uncharted territory as the first black Captain America. Instead of taking the super soldier serum, he operates as a one-man fighter jet with a serious upgrade to his wings, which are now entirely advanced vibranium Wakandan flight tech. Sam gets caught up in a lot of political drama and conflict post-Endgame, especially with Celestial Island being an adamantium jackpot, which is the new hot thing after vibranium.
It's even more indestructible than vibranium. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you adamantium.
You ever think about how just a few years ago, Chitauri tech was considered revolutionary? Fun times. Wilson uncovers a conspiracy by Samuel Stearns, aka the leader, that involves manipulating the newly elected President Thaddeus Ross, who is now a Hulk, but red and a lot more angry. He also has a really personal character arc with Isaiah Bradley, in which he uncovers the horrendous past of the United States and the super soldier experiments. All of this comes to a head when Ross loses control during a very public summit, and what happens next? Well, you know what they say. Hulk smash. Honestly, pretty tough deal for his first movie and outing as a superhero, even if he handled it really well. But the incident was enough for him to make a pretty drastic decision, bring back the Avengers Initiative, even though it's straining his relationship with Bucky. Sam's in a much more significant role now than he had ever been in Infinity Saga, and is shaping up to be one of the main players of the multiverse saga. Peter Parker. Man, what
Oh,
hasn't
my
happened to
boy.
this kid?
My
8 months
boy.
after Endgame, Peter was struggling with the loss of Tony Stark and the expectation that he'd have to step up to fill that role.
What is it like to take over from Tony Stark? There's some big shoes to fill.
Post Endgame, the guy desperately needed a break, and he hasn't gotten one. And he's really trying. But what do you do when your European school trip gets derailed by Mysterio, a massive drone plot utilizing misplaced Stark tech, and the reveal of your personal identity?
Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
Peter ended Far From Home with the entire world knowing who he is. Bitter from his loss to Spider-Man, Mysterio framed him as responsible for the drone strikes in Far From Home, and the fallout of this pretty much ruined Peter's life, even leading to him, MJ, and Ned being rejected from MIT, their dream university. Desperate to set things right, he approached Strange for a spell that would make everyone forget who he is, but he screwed that up too by constantly interfering with it. And the result? An incursion-like event that threatened to destroy Earth-616's reality as a whole. So Pete spends No Way Home dealing with villains of other Peter Parkers from Earths he's never been to, as well as meeting those variants of himself and learning from them. And you all know how that end goes. To set things right, Pete asks Doctor Strange to erase everyone's memory of Peter Parker, which, yeah, it works. But now, nobody knows Peter Parker. He may as well not exist as a person, only as Spider-Man. Now, 4 years later, in Brand New Day, he's a true street-level hero. No Stark tech, no Avengers, nothing to rely on but his own web shooters and spider senses. And he's going through a lot in this movie, too.
What is happening to me?
From mutating powers to an all-out conspiracy involving the Hand, a group of mystical ninjas obsessed with freaky immortality rituals. Stephen Strange. Following his resurrection in the blip, Stephen returned to a very different world. Turns out he's no longer Sorcerer Supreme. That's Wong.
Wait, I thought you were the Sorcerer Supreme.
No, he got it on a technicality because I blipped for 5 years.
Oh.
Operating out of the New York Sanctum, Strange's arrogance and willingness to bend mystical rules led to his first major post-Endgame catastrophe. That's the whole train wreck with Peter. And I really need you to understand how bad this was. If Peter hadn't sacrificed himself, dozens or hundreds of variants could have come into Earth-616 chasing Peter, and even one is enough to cause an incursion. And speaking of those, let's talk about how this isn't even the first incursion tier event he's triggered. Apparently, on Earth-838, he was literally executed for this exact reason, constantly causing incursions.
From our experience, the greatest danger to the multiverse, it turns out, is Doctor Strange.
Although there, he was using the Darkhold to defeat Thanos. But he's literally doing the same thing in Earth-616. When he protects America Chavez, he ends up utilizing the Darkhold again to dreamwalk and possess the corpse of one of his dead variants in order to stop Wanda. And this left a mark on Steven. Literally. Dude has a third eye now.
Awaken your God.
Despite keeping America safe and stopping Wanda, in the post-credits, we find out he's caused another incursion.
If you caused an incursion, then we're gonna fix it.
Clea, a powerful sorceress, steps into Earth-616 to drag him so he can fix it. And now, we have no idea just how much trouble Strange is in, or how much he's caused. And that's pretty much every Avenger post-Endgame. One thing you guys might notice, they're all really scattered. These are a bunch of individual stories that have nothing to do with each other. I mean, besides a few pair-ups, most of these guys don't ever even meet anymore, which is a huge shift from the Infinity Saga. And speaking of the Infinity Saga, where's T'Challa in all this? Turns out, he passed away in-universe due to an undisclosed illness, leaving Shuri as the heir. So a lot of the old guard has either retired or passed on now. Where would you like to see the new Avengers go?
How are they gonna make this movie work? The only one that I've seen that are mixing is Hulk, and they have Punisher now. So I mean, it's an interesting take, but nah. I'm just waiting for that Peter Parker movie. Brand New Day better come out soon. I need to watch